Good morning, Warren Chase here with Remax at Duncan. I hope everybody's having a good weekend. I'm gonna be creating some videos for you guys. As you guys know, that when I'm not selling real estate, I am fixing up my own houses. So I'd like to make some videos and take you guys on my journey, and hopefully you guys learn something. So today, I want to talk about something that's near and dear to my heart, which is lawns. My wife can attest to that. So first we'll take you on a tour and then we'll talk about my lawn. Right, so first let's just give you a quick tour of the backyard. We're gonna talk about fences and the design I chose, why I chose it, and then it's not stained yet, so we're gonna talk about how to prep it and what stain to use and all that stuff. There's my wife's little playhouse that my kid's playhouse that my wife refurbished. Looks fantastic. And we're gonna talk about roofs, roof replacements, what to use, the pros and cons. We're gonna talk about gutters. We're gonna talk about decks. We had a big rotten wood deck here, and we are replacing it with concrete and stone deck. It's gonna be beautiful. And my little COVID-19 project, which is garden beds, raised garden beds, with a greenhouse. So the capping just needs to go on the garden beds. Everything's growing like crazy. And the greenhouse right here. And yeah, the capping just has to go on it. And then we're done. Hi, sheep. So watering. Sounds simple, but a lot of people do mess it up. So the theory behind watering is you want to create a robust, healthy root system, which means watering less. So instead of watering every day for 20 minutes, you want to water every 3 or 4 days for 45 minutes to allow deep penetration of the moisture into the soil. And you want the roots to chase that moisture down. And what that does is it creates a more robust root system that can withstand extremes in temperature and withstand droughts. So even when it's really dry and maybe you forgot to water it, it stays lush and green. So that's the trick there. You can also grab a core sampler to see how far the moisture is penetrating. So that's a good tool to have. So one thing to talk about is prepping your lawn to be seeded. Topsoil. So you want some sand in your topsoil because we're on the wet coast and we need that drainage. The sand gives it a lot of drainage. So your topsoil has to have some sand in it. There's a couple places in town to buy topsoil. One cheaper, one more expensive. And I definitely recommend the more expensive one because we tried the cheaper stuff and we really regretted it, and we're still paying for it. But where we put the high quality topsoil, the more expensive stuff, we had lush green grass. So, yeah, and the other regret that we have is that instead, we should have put about 4 to 6 inches of topsoil, but instead we put about 2 inches, just to save some money. But once again, try to save some money and then it causes you grief. So let's talk about color. So brown would be lack of water. Obviously the grass is just dying, so it turns brown. A yellow would be lack of nutrients. And then a yellowy orange would be nutrient burn or too much fertilizer. Sometimes it's hard to tell which one's which because they kind of look like a brown with a yellow tinge. It kind of looks the same. So it is pretty hard to diagnose. Oh yeah, also gray would be fungus or mold. Another thing to do is the pull test. So when you grab the grass and you pull it, and if you can't pull it out, that's a good sign, obviously, and that means that you don't have a pest or insect issue. So my lawn, up until a couple days ago, was completely yellow. I had fertilized in March, and I also raked a bunch of topsoil all over this whole lawn. So I thought that it could not be a lack of nutrient issue. I thought maybe it was a lack of moisture, but I kept watering it and it didn't get greener. So a few days ago I broke down and ended up fertilizing again. And as you can see here, wherever the fertilizer went on heavy, it's nice and green, and the spots that I missed or a little bit more thin, they are browner. Also, where the fertilizer went on really thick, the sides are a lot greener than the rest of the areas. So my lawn's a case of just not enough nutrients, which really surprised me. Let's take a closer look. You can see all the new growth coming in, starting to get green, but we still got a lot of work to do. So that wraps up Warren's yard house tips for the day. I hope you guys liked it, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.